Of course, let's start here. The big story of the day. Trucks carrying the first batch, 1 million doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine have touched down at OR Tambo in Johannesburg, and they're en route to Bloemfontein as we speak. This is where the vaccines are going to be tested and verified. The vaccines arrived at OR Tambo from the Serum Institute of India this afternoon. They touched down just before 3 o'clock. Well, for more on this, we've got our reporter Manqoba Mchunu, who's at ORT, and Linda Kuhle-Qulu, who is in Rosebank, just judging how South Africans are feeling about this really important day. Manqoba, hi, I'm going to start with you. So talk to us about what's been happening in the last few hours for people who haven't seen the touchdown that happened just before 3 o'clock. Tell us exactly what's been happening since that Emirates flight touchdown.
Well, indeed, Sally, a great deal of excitement here at the OR Tambo International Airport as the first batch of vaccines finally arrived in the country. They were meant to arrive last month, of course, but they were marred by several delays in that particular process. So that plane finally landing today here at OR Tambo Airport amid very heavy rainfall here at OR Tambo. But I can tell you, Sally, that from where I was stationed at the viewing deck, where you can see that Emirates plane coming in, there was a great deal of excitement, certainly from some of the viewers and spectators that had come to that viewing space to actually come and witness this historical landing of this plane, which had the AstraZeneca vaccine delivered to the country. And I can tell you that, Sally, many of the people that were here saying that they're quite optimistic, they're looking forward to receiving that jab. I did speak to some of them, and they're saying that they will get vaccinated, and they believe really that this is a milestone in terms of the fight against COVID-19 that the country has taken, and they're certainly hoping that they will also be getting that vaccination soon, Sally. But in terms of the transporting of it, we did see the President as well as the Minister of Health receiving the vaccine, and accompanied, of course, by the High Commissioner of India, who was also present in this particular ceremony that took place here. It was a very short ceremony that took place, and then the vaccine itself was then loaded onto the trucks to be transported to Bloemfontein, and this is where it will be kept for safekeeping and where those various tests, we do understand, will be conducted.
All right, Manqoba. So the vaccine's on their way to Bloemfontein, and it's so important that we remind the public that all the safety protocols are in place. It's going to be a 2-week system of just checking that all the vaccines are in order, that everything is as it should be before it starts being administered to healthcare workers first, sometime around the middle of February, we understand. But I want to go now to our reporter in Rosebank, Linda Kuhle-Qulu. Linda, you've been chatting to ordinary South Africans. How are they feeling about the news that the vaccine is coming and it has actually touched down on South African soil now?
Well, Sally, as that aircraft landed at OR Tambo International Airport, we've been all over Johannesburg, from Johannesburg CBD, Bloemfontein, Randburg, Sandton, and now in Rosebank, just to try and get the sentiments and put our finger on the pulse of what South Africans really think about this particular historic moment that my colleague Manqoba was mentioning. And in fact, I can tell you that on the contrary, there's quite a number of people that are scared about the vaccine. There's quite a number of people that are saying that they are still skeptical, particularly because of the information, of the controversial information they are seeing on social media platforms and various other platforms. But we are getting a sense that there are other people that are quite optimistic and saying that they do want to see the rollout of this vaccine. They do want to see an effort that will in fact bring about an end, or rather a turning point, a tipping point towards the fight against COVID-19. But one of the things that people had said and quite welcomed is the fact that these particular million doses are ones that are going to be received by health workers in the country, and they're saying that if health workers, the ones that are dealing with the virus on a daily basis, will be receiving these vaccines, and this will be shown, they're in fact saying that this will then give them courage and encourage them to in fact raise their hands as well when the other batches of the vaccine will arrive in the country. They're saying that quite optimistically so. If they see the rollout and they see that there are no side effects that are going to cause harm into people's immune systems, they are in fact going to welcome them, and they're saying that they'll be watching quite closely the rollout as it reaches many of those frontline workers that are set to receive the vaccine.
You know, Linda, you make such an important point. There's so much misinformation around vaccines, but when ordinary South Africans such as you and I, when we see medical specialists, when we see scientists, when we see healthcare workers saying, yes, please, I will gratefully take this vaccine, it does help to allay some of those fears. So I think it is really important that we also see high-profile South Africans and our doctors and scientists actually being administered that vaccine to make the point that it is safe. Manqoba, I want to go back to you because we know that this batch of 1 million doses is to be followed by 500,000 in a few weeks' time, but it's part of a greater plan to bring something like 20 million vaccines into the country. Do we have any breakdown of where those vaccines are coming from and how soon they're going to be getting to South Africa?
Well, Sally, so far what we do know is that indeed that 500,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine will be arriving in the country this month. They were, of course, announced by the health minister a few weeks ago as part of the country's response in terms of COVID-19, the vaccination program that is starting from today with the arrival of this vaccine that arrives in the country. But otherwise, we do know that the president has indicated that the country so far has secured over 20 million doses, and these include around about 12 million of those doses from Johnson & Johnson, as well as 9 million of those vaccines. I think I'm getting the numbers a bit mixed up, so it's actually 9 million doses from Johnson & Johnson and 12 million from the COVAX program, which South Africa is part of. But in terms of the timelines, in terms of when these vaccines will be delivered to the country, that is still not clear, including, of course, this 500,000 from the Serum Institute of India. So there is an expectation from South Africans that in the coming days, government will certainly make known exactly what the plan is. And you recall, Sally, that it's been at the issue of many of the criticism from political parties with regards to what that rollout plan is. So we are hoping that even the president's speech tonight will sort of highlight where about are we in terms of procuring some of those vaccines.
Absolutely, Manqoba. We hope to hear about restrictions, the easing of restrictions tonight at 8 o'clock. But as you say, we may also get some more information about the vaccine rollout from the president, who is due to address the nation at 8 o'clock tonight. Thank you very much, Manqoba Mqulu. He's at OR Tambo International Airport, and also our reporter out and about, Linda Kuhle-Qulu, who's been speaking to ordinary South Africans.